Hi guys, this is HTML CSS Beginner tutorial and I'm going to show you how you can build this part of the Amazon website which is for the products without any prerequisites and even installing any application on your machine. Let's jump into code. If you haven't already subscribed, consider subscribing to don't miss the next episodes.
I will be using CodeSandbox.io website in order to don't install any software on my machine and do it everything on cloud. So you have to use your browser and go to this website. I put the link inside the description as well. And I suggest you sign in into the website so you can later change your codes and access them. Okay, after you're logged in, you should create a new sandbox from here. And then from the list, you should select a static one. It will generate a simple HTML file for me. And I have a code editor here. It's my folder structure. And here I can see the result of my code. For example, if I change this to 55 and press Ctrl S or save the screen, then I can see it is already updated for me. So I can change things, see here, get feedback, again change it and get my final result so easily. So inside this file, let me remove everything. In every HTML page, we have some HTML elements, or we call them tags, which we define building blocks of my page. And inside the CSS, we define some rules to just modify the appearance of these blocks. That's so easy. So, for example, I can write this text inside my HTML file, and if I want to change the font size or the color or whatsoever, I should do it using CSS. So in every HTML file, we should have this structure. The first HTML element is doc type. It tells the browser that the page that you are going to render is a HTML document. And then I have to define the HTML element or tag. Let me tell you what is HTML. Actually, some tags in HTML or elements can have a children, but some cannot have. The HTML tag is the one that can have some children in it, so it should have an opening tag and closing tag, and it will be exactly like this. So my HTML tag should have two important children. The first one is the head tag, and the second one is the body tag. Inside the head tag, we define some configuration and we just send some information to the browser. For example, the name of the page, the Amazon.com, should be defined inside the head section. Or if we want to use a specific library, we can import them inside the head section. And inside the body section, we actually write our blocks that are going to be shown inside the browser and user can see them. So for defining the title of the page, I will have another HTML element named title, and I should open and close it, and inside it I can have a text and the name of my page, for example, my Amazon. I can have several HTML elements like the P for adding a paragraph to my page, for example, hello, this is a test, and I can close the P tag like this. So if I save it, you will see this paragraph is added to my page. Or even we can have an image like using the img tag and defining or specifying the URL of image that we are going to show inside my HTML page. Let me first create a folder, name it images, and upload my images to it. I can select all of them, drag and drop to the images folder. It will be uploaded so easily. So I have to specify here the URL or address of this file. This index.html file is located next to the images folder, so I have to go to the images folder first and then select the file name, for example, headset.jpg, and yeah, then close my img tag. The tags that doesn't have any children should be closed in this way, or even you can omit this part. It works totally fine, but since we are using Code Sandbox, it has somehow a prettier to make our code more pretty. So if I save it, it will automatically add this to the end of it. So you can see that my image is added to my website. Now you are asking how we can customize and change, for example, the width of this image. So I can define some styles here and using CSS rules. To do this, first I have to have another HTML element which is named style, and within this style section I can define my CSS rules. Every CSS rule should point to an element. For example, I want to write a CSS rule for my image. So I copy this HTML element name, put it here, and then open it. And here I can declare the appearance that I want to have. For example, I want to have the width of the image to be 125 pixels, and I add a semicolon in order to be able to add multiple lines of code here for this img tag, but we only have one here. If I save, you can see the size completely changed and this style is working great. The next step is to have this label for each of items that I have. So let's change it to headsets. Yeah, I want to copy these for the rest of elements that I have in my page. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, they are added, but they are not grouped into two rows. And we have to do like this. To do this, we have to somehow group the elements. And we have a HTML element for grouping things and dividing them. It is named div or div. I can put my elements inside a div like this. And we will be using this div element to apply a CSS rule to the whole section of this group. I will be doing the same for the rest of my elements to make them be in groups, this one. Yeah, you can see there is no any difference in the appearance because we haven't write any code for CSS and changing these divs. So I actually need another div for grouping the first two items because they have to be in the first row and the rest should be in the second row. So what I'm going to do is to cut this part, add another div, put the data in it, and yeah, do the same for the other two elements and close the div here. Yeah, there is no change yet. Now I want these two items to stick together at the first row and the other two like the same. So I want to write a CSS property for these two items, the child one, not this div. If I write a div keyword here, it applies to every div elements that I have, but it's not my desire. So what I'm going to do is to use a property named class. For, the class property gives me this ability to categorize my divs and only apply CSS to this category. For example, this category, I can name it whatever I want. I name it item, copy and paste it for every item that I have. And then here I can say div.item, or even I can remove the div part, it works. And then specify like float to the left side. You don't need to be worried about the syntax or memorize it. We later can go for every one of them and explain to you what are they. Just for now, you can see that they are sticking to the left side of each other. But there is a problem here. They are stick together, but I want these two items in first row and the rest in the second row. So what I can have here is for these two divs to tell them place at a location that there is no any div element next to you. So I do like class row, copy and paste it here, and then tell the browser that there shouldn't be anything next to them. So row clear both. It means that both sides should be cleared. So you now see it is working fine. The only part which is left is the header section. Let me copy it and add it at the top side. I can use H1 to H6 HTML elements. They are for headings. H1 means the biggest font size and H6 is the smallest one. I can choose H3. It is fine for my case and close it. Then you can see it is added completely, and the rest thing which is left is the font and font size of these labels. We had the P tags, so we can customize them using P here in my CSS, changing the font family to Arial. And yeah, the font family is changed, and the font size. Font size here to, for example, 13 pixels, and add a semicolon and save. You can see it is working fine and it is as we wanted. So congratulations, you did your first project in HTML and CSS. Happy coding. See you in the next one.